so high. If you don't know how to fly, aim for leisure to make you fly. Sky is so high. If you don't know how to fly, aim for leisure to make you fly. Here we go. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. Nice to see all of you. Nice to see your pictures, DPs. People have already joined. Okay, we're going to be doing airline management. So some of the students haven't done it. How many have done it?
I have done it, ma'am.
1 minute. We okay. How many have done it? Can you tell me at least? Yes, no, whatever.
Ma'am, I have done it, ma'am.
Okay, Veena, Janvi, anybody else? You'd like to do a revision or no? It depends on you. Most welcome to do a revision.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are starting airline management, module 1, introduction to cabin crew profession. I'll just put my video off for a minute and I'll just share the screen. Okay. Module 1, introduction to cabin crew profession. Aviation refers to flying using an aircraft like an aeroplane. It also describes the activities and industries related to flight. When flying first, people developed airplanes. We had first powered heavier than air flight on December 17, 1903. Humans first built devices to fly in the air a long time ago. In the 6th century, Yuan Hangzhou from China created a kite. Some primitive types of parachutes and gliders were also created in North Africa. So everybody tried to make aeroplanes in the olden times when there were no aeroplanes, and this is how it came out to be. The modern age of aviation started on November 21, 1783, when the Montgolfier brothers flew in their balloon. So the first time that it went in the air was the balloon. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers flew the first flight in an aeroplane which was heavier than air. Their invention is known as the first aeroplane. So this, they will ask you where my cursor is, and that which was the first flight, and you'll have to write by whom. It was on December 17, the Wright brothers. I'll try to see whether I can show you the Wright brothers. This was the first flight, the Wright brothers. This was the aeroplane that they first tried to take into the air. They had many problems and issues with it, but finally this is how flying started. How the Wright brothers took the first powered flight. This is how it is. Can you imagine going like this now? Aviation grew, and we are in the modern age now, and we have a variety of planes nowadays. But initially it was like this. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. This is the first.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the Wright brothers is the first plane that took off. How did the cabin crew profession come into place? The title cabin crew differs from airlines to airlines. So people used to call it air hostesses initially, and pursers and assistant pursers. Now the title has changed. It is either cabin attendants, that is CA, or cabin crew CC. It depends on airline to airline. The head in the cabin crew is also called either an in-flight supervisor, cabin in charge, cabin whatever, different names, but means the same thing, means the same job. That type of profession can be found only in big airlines, and cabin crew are caretakers of passengers while they are traveling. So, who are cabin crew? The caretakers of passengers, you can say that also. Cabin crew give important instructions to the passengers right from the time of takeoff and landing. They tell them how to wear their mask, how to wear their distillery. People who don't know who are flying for the first time, you have to take special care of them. They do not know how things open, close, where everything is placed. All that you have to explain to them. They deliver board announcements and any missing emergency equipment items to the pilot after the pre-flight check. So as soon as the cabin crew go on board, and the first thing they have to do, the first part of their job is to check the emergency equipment which is kept in different places. Generally, all the equipment is kept near the door. You have to see that it is sealed, it is in working condition, and it is in the place that it is supposed to be. Once you have done this pre-flight check is checked before the flight, you have to inform the pilot that all emergency equipment at every door is okay. Only after that you start your work, like go to the galleys, get ready for the passengers, take over the meals, take over the bar, welcome passengers, do all these things. It is only done. The priority is emergency equipment, all emergency equipment. If one of the equipment also is found not working, you are responsible for that. You will be in trouble, because if something happens to a passenger and this emergency equipment doesn't work, we will have a big problem on our hands. We will not be able to take care of the problems on board. If it's a fire or if it's a medical issue, whatever, we will not be able to deal with it. So the most important part of your job is to see that your emergency equipment is okay. Unless the emergency equipment okay is given, passengers are not boarded. It takes about 5 minutes. Each one does it at each station that they're supposed to sit in, and then they do their pre-flight checks. Pre-flight checks are many. I'll tell you what the pre-flight checks are. One is that take a round of the cabin, check whether all things are there. Seat belts are folded and nicely and kept. They are folded by the ground staff. We have to just check it. Cursory check of 1 or 2 life jackets, whether they are in their place. A cursory check of the toilets, if anything is missing. Anything in the cabin which does not seem normal. One cursory check is required to see that all things, anything out of place, immediately you should be alert. There is something not right, because once the doors are closed and you are in air, you are going to be handling everything. If there is a problem in the air, you can do nothing about it. So better to have checks. These checks are necessary. After that, galley checks. And the person who works in the galley does the galley checks. The meals, the ovens are working, the refrigerators are working, the carts are full, meals are enough for everybody, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, breakup, special meals, Jain meals, different kinds of meals, all that you have to see. The catering, the one person takes over the bar. You see, check, the bar cannot be opened, but at least check how many bottles are given, how many beers are given, how many whiskeys are given, all this, a cursory check of the bar. This is your pre-flight check. After you have done all this check and they board passengers, you are supposed to receive the passengers. Once the passengers, you do your receiving in whichever way you have been taught, whether to do a namaste. Generally, passengers are received with a cursory good morning, good evening, or whatever, and a local language, namaste. One person says good evening, one person says namaste. You check their boarding cards and you show them their seats if they do not know how to go to their seats. They have this A, B, C, D, E. Some people may not know which side it is. You have to guide them which side it is and what your seat number is. Okay, once they are settled, then you start their demonstrations, that is your oxygen mask video. If the video is not working, you have to do it manually, oxygen mask and life jackets. You have to show them. Unless that video is done, you cannot take off. Only when the video is done, the captain asks whether you have finished the demo. We call it demo in short for demonstration. So once the captain asks your demo is done, we say yes, demo done, then he takes off. All these things take time, but you have to be very, very fast. Okay, so that is it. Once people have seated, my mistake. Once people have sat down on their seat, you have taken around. You have to take around to see that all their seat belts are fastened. Once you see that their seat belts are fastened, if somebody is not fastened, you make sure. You do a briefing of the passengers seated at the door. You have to do an emergency briefing for them. You have to tell them about the door. You have to tell them in an emergency, if I'm unable to open the door, how will you open it and how will you rescue passengers? The person sitting near the door there are 3 people or 2 people at the door. They have to also understand the functioning of the door and the emergency part of it. They're not to touch it unless something happens to you. You give them an emergency briefing if there are any special handling passengers like wheelchair, especially pregnant mothers with small children or this thing. You have to give them a briefing as to how they have to sit for takeoff and landing, their posture in an emergency, how it will be. You have to tell them. If there are any blind passengers, you have to tell them also, make them feel the life jacket, make them feel the oxygen mask and do all this. Rarely we get only one odd person like that. You don't get, so it just takes about 2-3 minutes. Once that is done, you check your seat belts. Captain already, when he starts moving the aircraft, puts the seat belt sign on. But he knows that you guys are working till the takeoff point. And all throughout the taxiing means from the airport right up to the runway, that part when it's moving, it's called taxiing. When it's taxiing, he knows that all the crew are working. When he is absolutely about to take off, he makes an announcement, cabin crew to stations please. The minute he says that, you have to sit down and fasten your seatbelt. There is no moving after that. All your work, all your sealing of galleys, making sure that the galleys are closed, everything, the toilets are closed, the passengers are in their seated seats and the seat belts, everything is done. When he says cabin crew to stations please, you have to go to your particular station and sit down and ready for takeoff. When you are taking off, you have to review in your mind your emergency procedures. Most of the time, the emergency takes place only during takeoff and during landing. Those are the most crucial part of the flight. You have to review your emergencies just in case anything happens. You sit down and till the fasten seatbelt sign is on. Once captain has reached above 10,000 feet, he will put the seatbelt sign off. Only then can you get up and start your activity. Did you get that part? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So crew generally operate the doors during routine flights as well as hold the noticeable and accountable and required paperwork and reports for each flight. Each flight you have to make the report. The cabin in charge makes all the reports. Every small thing is written. Every time is noted. Anything happening on the flight, whether it is a crew fight or the passenger fight or upset passenger, happy passenger, everything is written. To reach that position, the crew members, flight attendants and hostesses have to have a lot of experience with flight services. You do not become a cabin in charge for at least 7 to 8 years till you get full experience of flying. Not only that, the experience, they also train you before you become a supervisor as to how you have to fill the forms, what you have to do, what not you have to do. That's a full-time job also in the air, because you're not only doing your work, you're doing paperwork as well. The other crew do not do very minimal paperwork, but the cabin in charge has to do lots of paperwork. They earn more than hostesses and flight attendants because of their added responsibility. Cabin in charge will of course get more money than the cabin crew, and because of their promotion, and it is understood. Though it is a fairly demanding job requiring stamina, skills and patience. This is all the requirement you need for the job: stamina, skills, patience, and an ability to smile through trying times. You may have your own problems at home. Everybody has. You cannot show it. You cannot take it to the air. There you have to smile, whatever it happens. Not show them what the problem is. The payoffs are considerable. Air hostesses in a domestic airline get salaries that range from 15 to 25,000 gross per month, and up to 4 lakhs for senior staff. This is changed. When the book was written, it was different. Now it is different. Yes, when they talk about up to 8 lakhs, they mean annually. No, the salaries have increased a lot now. I'm sure the starting salary for anybody would be 50,000. That would be the starting. That is your salaries. Your allowances are separate. So it should come to about 80. As your senior, it should go to about 1 lakh, depending on the your position. Okay? So don't follow this part of it. The money is good, no doubt about it. Who is a cabin crew, an employee of the airline who is primarily responsible for safety and comfort of passengers during their flight. It's called a cabin crew. You can use this line also for your interviews, or you can by heart it. If they ask you what is the duty of the cabin crew, you can say they are primarily responsible for safety and comfort of the passengers. Safety comes first during their flight. Okay? Because in an emergency, the passengers don't know what to do. You have been trained what to do. Not only this training, you will be given a detailed training when you join the airline. So you are trained for emergencies more than anything else. So that is the important part of your airline. All the exams you'll be given are all emergencies, and you have to pass that, because if you don't pass that, they will not allow you to fly. So you have to study. Next comes eligibility. An airline may have eligibility tests depending on its specific requirements. These are facts that can be determined either by physical or documentary evidence. Eligibility checks are likely to include eligibility. Basically, you have to meet the age, you have to meet the height and weight, educational qualifications. If you are when they give you an advertisement, give an advertisement and say your height should be this much, your weight should be this much, and your educational qualification. If it doesn't match that, they will not consider the application will not go further. So you have to have this criteria. When you go for the interview, you have to have documentary evidence for your qualifications. If you say you're a BA pass, BCom pass, you say you're 12th standard, you have to have a certificate. If you just say I've done a course in airline management, that's not enough. You need a certificate. Has a candidate acquired adequate experience in customer service? If you have any job in like a hotel line or any customer service, public, where you come in contact with the public, you can tell them that, because they will prefer it. If you can speak a second language, nothing like it. Some airlines pay you extra for the second language that you know. Second language does not mean your mother tongue, it means a foreign language. And what proficiency can the second language be spoken? Whether you have just learned or whether you can speak it properly, you can read, that also matters. Suitability. Airline managers will be looking for people who can best fulfill the role of a cabin crew. The minimum requirement is for technical knowledge, being able to apply to the aircraft what is learned in the classroom. So that knowledge you will know. Whatever you have studied in the emergency, the technical knowledge of operating things you have to learn. Maturity, showing responsibility and professionalism throughout training. You have to have the maturity to understand no anger issues, no getting upset, no crying, no sulking, no, back answering, nothing. You are in customer service, you have chosen to be here, so you have to follow the rules. You have to be very, very mature while handling things, saying the right things, and trying to tackle passengers' problems in the right way. Adaptability, accepting change even when the change may alter one's plans. A lot of adjustments you have to make. You will, as you're paid very high here, there is no leave. Understand that. There is no Diwali, Christmas, Eid, all this. Yes, you will get your leave in a year, some depending on the airline, 15 days, 20 days paid leave. You will get about 10 sick leave and you will get about 7 or 8 casual leaves. Casual leaves are generally kept for an emergency. If it happens at home suddenly and you need an emergency casual leave, it is for that. Sickness, only about 10 days maybe in a year. So you have to see that you're fit. You keep on falling sick all the time, they'll pull you up. Also, when you're sick, you cannot go to your doctor and get a fake certificate. You have to go to airline doctor and show yourself. An airline doctor has to certify you sick or fit. Even if you take treatment from your personal doctor, you still have to go to the airline doctor. Adjusting your plans. If you want leave for a particular birthday, a function in your house, you have to apply for leave 1 month before. They will grant you that leave, provided you have leave in your credit. Otherwise, they will adjust your flight in such a way that they will bring you home for your whatever, birthday or this thing. So, but you have to be adaptable. You have to understand that when you have such a high flying and paying job, you have to adjust a lot also. Judgments, being able to make solid decisions on your own when evaluating situation. In an emergency, you'll come face many situations, even in normal flights also. You have to use your judgment properly and make your decisions. Diplomacy, most important, having ability to handle passengers or situation without arousing hostility. Means able to handle people without getting them angry. If they are angry, you're supposed to cool them down. Find a solution, don't lie. If you can't do it, say you can't do it. If you can, say you will try. Grooming, up to date, absolutely. I think Drishti ma'am has been taking your classes. Yes or no? Have you been seeing her?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Have you seen the way she grooms herself? Yes. That is the way grooming is required. Even for boys, it's required. Very prim and proper, good shirts, well-polished shoes, belts, everything proper. And that is the way you're supposed to look. At any given time, when you go on flight and you get off from the flight, nobody should know whether you're taking a flight or you've come off a flight. You have to look absolutely well-groomed. They should not know that you have done a flight, you come panting, puffing, sweaty. No. You have, on flight also, you have to go, boys and girls, you have to go in between your flights. When you have 8-hour flights, 6-hour flights, you have to brush your teeth because mouth odor is the worst thing that can put off passenger. Some people sweat a lot, so you need deo, you need to wash yourself, you need to brush your teeth, you need to redo your makeup for the girls, redo your hair, and come out smelling fresh. You have to keep doing this even we do it even when we are leaving the aircraft. Once you get on board, check your mail. You have while you're checking the toilet accessories, you have finally 2 minutes to check up yourself, your face, and your hair. And same way, when you get off, also your lipstick, your powder, everything should be in place. Nobody should know whether you're taking a flight or coming back. Attitude, The ability to relate to people or situations without expressing negative personal feelings. Don't show attitude, have a good attitude, not a bad attitude. Attitude is good, but overdoing it is bad. Then people start getting away from you. So have the positive attitude, okay, not a negative one. Again, eligibility and requirements only are given. So anyway, eligibility and suitability are relative basic requirements which must be met in all cases. Airlines then customize their person specification according to. Airlines will customize. They customize means they tell you what to wear, how much makeup to wear, which shade to wear, your nail polish, which shade to wear, what kind of shoes you must wear, what kind of belts you must wear for the boys, what kind of shirts you must wear, blazers, what kind, everything they will do it as per. They will give it to you. They will give you uniform sets, 3, 4, 5 sets, whatever, 6 sets a year, and your job is to see that it's spotlessly clean, no torn, no, the collar is not weathered, the cuffs clean, absolutely. Your job to see that. You'll be given that, and they'll tell you what kind of hairstyle is allowed, what kind of jewelry is allowed, what kind of makeup is allowed. Some airlines see above average appearance and presentation as being crucial. Some people give more importance to height, weight, to weight and to your personality, to your appearance. So you have to follow those rules. While others prefer charisma and personality. Some like to have a very happy face and a good personality. Some prefer to be well groomed. Depends. Actually, you need both, to ask me. A good customer service background, nursing experience, very handy, so that if you have a nursing experience, of course, on board, you would be the best person to have around. Educational qualifications may be more relevant to one airline than to another. So some people some people don't mind 12 pass. Most of them allow you 12 pass. Others, some people want graduation. So it depends. Mostly the airline, when they advertise, they'll tell you. A new airline starting up may choose previous cabin crew experience. So new airline. Today I read in the papers actually that all the airlines are going to start hiring cabin crew very soon, because of the situation is getting a little better. Vaccine is here. So very soon we should have good news. Okay. These are the requirements. Male, female, 20, 35 years of age. Generally, when they take you in, they take you up to 35. Some may increase this thing if you're experienced, but otherwise, minimum height, female, male, dress code. Most of them want skirts or trousers, depending on the airline again. A prestigious and well-established airline can afford to be even more particular and demand combination of attributes. Generally, in your interviews, they look for all of this together. Because grooming, they can handle, they can change you, they can teach you. But basic nature, they cannot change. So then more, they like to look at a happy and a positive person more than anything else. Don't be disheartened if you do not get in the first attempt. It happens. A lot of people don't get first, second, third, but eventually they get. You can always try again or apply to another airline. It is also true that candidates fail to be recruited by one airline at one attempt can succeed at a later. Some airlines tell you that if you have been rejected, don't apply for the next 3 months. After that, you can apply. You can apply to other airlines as well. Somewhere it will open up. This is usually because a candidate has acquired better interview technique, extra skill. So they say come back after 3 months because they also know it's your first interview. You're going to be nervous. They think that maybe they've liked you, but they sort of kept you on a hold. And then next time you go, they're sure you have better skills and experience. So that's why they tell you come back after 3 months. Cabin crew requirements. Degree is not required everywhere. It's only standard, most of them. sometimes they may, foreign airline may ask you for a degree. Studying a diploma foundation degree in following subjects are useful: languages, travel, leisure and tourism, aviation management, cabin crew management, hospitality management. So these things, if you have a diploma, it's counts a lot. Being able to speak other languages also counts. Post graduation is not required. Vocational qualification, all this is not required. Taster 1 or 2 courses which give indication of what. Okay, this is taster 1. This is for you to know about food. Not required. If you have a diploma degree in hotel line, that's a good thing to have. Hotel diploma, because they like people who come from the hotel industry. Again, they've given you same minimum age, 21, health. You require passport, most of them. Even if you don't have, you can always apply during training. Very important, good hearing and eyesight, although glasses and contact lenses are now allowed. Medical examination will be there. Their doctor will take your full medical examination, and you will only clear after he passes you. Your own doctor's medical examination is not accepted. Candidates also need to show evidence of the following: communication skills, exceptional customer service, confidence in dealing with the range of passing people. You get a lot of different people: angry, irritating, good, nice, understanding, crying children, harassed mothers, old people. You get different. You have to handle them different ways. Working skills, teamwork. You will all be working as a team. The service starts as a team and ends as a team. Many a times there are lots of fights. I won't do this, I won't do that, I won't do that. It doesn't work that way. You all have to work as a team, a good team. Remember that every report written against you goes in your personal file, and when the promotion comes up, that personal file is opened. So all good and bad, both things are written. Confidence, team working skills, that discretion in dealing with VIPs and royalty. Many a times for a fly royalty, and prime ministers and all, VIP and all, you need to have lot of discretion. So you have to be very careful in handling with them. Follow the do's and don'ts very strictly, or you will have no job. Lately, we had one issue of this. One of the staff on one of the airlines, I won't mention which airline, went on the Moody's flight. Okay, I can tell you on Air India itself. He went on Moody's flight. It's Moody's new aircraft, right? The new one that he has now ordered only to fly prime ministers from here to there. This boy was working there, and he's a very experienced boy and an excellent worker and a good worker and a good human being. Made a mistake of taking pictures of the aircraft inside. He took the pictures, he took the photographs of the whole aircraft. He sent it to his family. One of his family people put it on Facebook. He got into trouble. He's never going to fly VIP again. He never, because the protocol was no pictures. He took a video of the aircraft. So this is how you have to be very, very careful when you fly with VIPs and all. Everybody is not put on VIPs and all. Only if you are a good worker, you have a good report, and in your file, personal file, everything good, then you are selected to fly VVIP. You're given special training to fly VVIP, and only then can you fly the Prime Minister or the President. Okay? Same with royalty and other airlines which we join, like say Emirates or Etihad. There are a lot of these big Sheikh Arabs flying royalty, and again you have to maintain you have to be very careful when you fly with them, and you have to follow your instructions to the T. Competence in handling difficult situation and the ability to remain calm in pressure and emergency situation. If you yourself are going to get scared and angry and start crying in an emergency, you're not going to be handling 400 passengers well. So you need to be very competent. Difficult situations will come. You have to remain calm and handle them well, because you are the people that they're going to look up to. You know everything, they don't know anything. So captain is not going to come out of his cockpit to handle them. You are there. So all instructions are for you, so you will have to do it. Okay? Gift of being tactful and diplomatic, but also assertive when necessary. You have to be tactful, you have to be diplomatic and tell passengers nicely what to do, but sometimes you need to be assertive. Means no means no. And you have to learn how to say that. You cannot be rude, but you have to make sure that they know that no, you cannot do it. Commercial awareness, sales skills, you have to know. If you are a good employee and you give them good service, whether it's on ground or in air, you're going to improve the sales indirectly, because people will want to come to you. People should want to come to you, or any airline. They should not want to go to another. Going to another airline means losing a customer. And he is going to tell 10 other people, so you're going to lose 10 more customers. So you have to be very careful about it. Flexibility in working unsocial hours on any day of the year. Unsocial, you can be called to work morning, afternoon, evening, night, any time of the day, any year. Of course, after getting your time off after every flight, the mandatory time off you will get of 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever is due to you, you will get. But after that, you will be called at any time of the day they will give you enough time, but you'll be called for working. You cannot say capability to work quick and efficiently, often to tight time constraints. You have very limited time. There, the flight time is taken into consideration, the landing time, the takeoff time, and in between they divide it into how long the service will take, and you have to be very quick and very efficient in your service. You cannot lag, do it slowly, because time is short. You have to be quick in the airline. You cannot be late. You have to be on time. Numeracy skills for handling. Sometimes people sell things on the flight. If you join a low-cost airline, they sell food, they sell soft drinks, they sell it. Most of the international airlines do not charge cash, but the others airlines, the domestic airlines, charge cash. So you have to understand, when you're handling cash in different foreign currencies, how to convert it. Are you able to listen to me? Can you hear me, or am I just speaking?
Yes, ma'am. You can hear you.
No, we can hear you.
So you will have to deal with different currencies, foreign currencies. Some people will pay you in dirhams, some in riyals, some in US dollars, some in pounds. You have to learn how to convert it. Mostly it's not a huge amount, because when we started flying, we were charging for everything. We used to collect in different foreign currencies for headsets, your headphones. We used to collect money for that. We used to collect money for liquor. We used to collect money for many things. Everything was charged. Now today, everything is part of your ticket, so they don't charge you for anything. So, but still, the domestic airlines will charge you for sandwich or soft drinks or whatever. Capacity to work in a confined space. The galleys are very compact. You have to learn how to work very efficiently in a small place. You have to learn how to work with your teammates, and it has to be very well organized. Our galleys are very well organized. 1 hour before the service starts, the crew start organizing the galleys. They keep the meals ready for this. Everything is kept in a line, so that the hostesses who are working in the cabin, or the cabin crew is working in the cabin, just come and take the trolleys and go. The other ones the one working in the galley just make sure that everything is ready for the meals. Of course, people help him out also, or help the person out. and you all have to work as a team, get ready, and then get ready to move. Because in the cabin, that person comes with you in the cabin as well. So it's both ways, vice versa. You both work in the cabin and galley. The point is that the service goes smoothly. The meals are rolled out, tea, coffee is rolled out, everything is first the drinks are rolled out, then the tea, coffee, then the meal, then the tea, coffee, then the clearing part of it. All this takes time. It has to be done very smoothly and nicely. You are taught how to do it. In first class, there will be too many trolleys going out, one after the other. You will have hors d'oeuvres, you'll have snacks, you'll have tea, coffee trolley, you'll have dessert trolley, you'll have liquor trolley, you'll have liqueur trolley. You have many trolleys. So there it's even 3 times more work. There also, by the time you finish one trolley in the cabin, the person working in the galley keeps the next trolley ready. So when you take this trolley back, all you got to do is take the next trolley out. He clears the trolley and keeps the third trolley ready for you to come. This is how it goes. Of course, you'll be trained, so that is different. Capacity, ability to diffuse situations calmly. There is a lot of pressure at that time during the service, and people do tend to get irritated with each other, so especially if one person is working very well and one person is not doing his job well. There are things. Try to diffuse it. Try not to add fuel to fire. Okay? Take a 5 minutes break. Okay, I'll just finish till applications, then you can take a break. Airlines may wish to see evidence of relevant work experience rather than qualification. They would prefer to see work experience more than qualification, as they're keen to see that the candidates have the required skills. They want to see whether you have customer service or not. They want to see whether you have how you deal with people. Part-time or temporary work in customer service roles will be particularly useful, as will any work that demonstrates skills with teamwork and communication. They would like to see if you have any work experience for any of these things: customer service, communications, teamwork, anything. They're not interested in your degree so long as you have a degree. Whether you've got a first class, second class, third class, they're not interested in your skills. This is a highly competitive profession, and candidates compete for jobs with wide range of people, from school leavers to those with a significant amount of relevant experience. Airlines recruit throughout the year, so keep checking relevant websites regularly and make speculative applications. Keep checking their websites regularly. Go to Etihad, go to Air India, go to Indigo, go to this thing, and keep checking their under the thing careers. Under careers, if you keep checking, you will know if they have put in an application. You can immediately keep your this ready, your biodata ready, keep your certificates ready, all in one online. Nowadays, you're all computer savvy, so make a file and keep it so you can just send it immediately. So we come to skills needed for a cabin crew. The airlines are looking for people who like change. They don't want to see the same faces every day, who don't like working the same hours and going to the same places that are ideal. It's not a 9-to-5 job. If you like to have a steady life, go at 9 o'clock, come at 5 o'clock, be with your family, fair enough, but this is not a job for you. In this job, I personally feel it's one of the best jobs, because one is, it's not a 9-to-5 job. The different working hours, yes, that is at night working is difficult, but still you don't see the same people every day. You don't see the same crew every day. Sometimes you may not fly with the same crew for 2-3 years. So you have different set of people working every day, which is why they want adaptability, because you have to adapt to different types of people and different types of nature. But it is at the same time, it's not a different place. It's not the same place every day. Every day you'll be going to a new place, so new people, new situations. For me, it was ideal, and I'm sure whoever makes it will love it. But if anybody wants a 9-to-5 job, then this is not the job for you. Because even in ground jobs, you'll have shifts. You'll have 3 shifts: morning, afternoon, night. So they like people who are willing to adjust to this. You will have jet lag, you will have tiredness, You'll have by day you'll be sleeping, by night you'll be working. You'll have lots of things happening to your body as well as this thing, but still, it's worth it. Flexibility is the key. If you are hesitant about, for example, working holidays or reserve, you may ask too many questions about which the base you'll find yourself quickly at the door. In flexibility, if you ask how many days I'm going to get leave and how much leave and all this, they'll think you're not interested in work. Don't ask this question. You will get your holidays, you will get your leave depending on how much leave you have. Being cute alone doesn't cut it, but though they are looking for people who will pull up their sleeves and get to work without a lot of fanfare. If there's a job that needs to be done, flight attendant won't sit around and ask questions. So just looking cute is not enough. They need people, hardworking people also. You have to work. You can't say this is my work, this is your work, this is my passenger, this is your passenger. It is all our work. That's a teamwork. People who like working with people are preferred. So basically, they like you to work with other people. If you are a loner, you may find yourself without a job. So they like when they ask you what are your positive points. Sometimes we say teamwork. I'm a good team worker because they want teamwork. They want you to work well in a team, not to fight and get into petty fights and petty egos and issues like that. So please say you're a good team worker, even if you're not. But you have to be one eventually. Talk about how you want to work up to management, won't impress them. They need bulk workforces who are good at following instructions. Leadership is admired in other lines of work, but not what they are specifically looking. When you're joining, they're not looking for management qualities in you. If you say, I'll be a very good manager, they're not interested. They want hard-working people. Management is going to come to you one day or the other. You are going to get promotion, you will be a manager. But right now, they're looking for people who love to do any kind of work. Sure, leaders will pop up, but save that for later. So what you need, confidence, good communication, for which you need good English. Please, please, please improve your English. Positive attitude, hospitable, team spirit, team management, leadership qualities, patience and courteousness. Manners, very, very important are manners. How you speak, how you deal with each other. Be very courteous, just like you want people to be courteous to you, you be courteous to others. This is regarding Continental Airlines. Flight attendants are most highly visible to our employees. We are the face of the airline industry, because your face is going to be the first face that the passenger sees, or especially a passenger coming from a foreign land meets you first, and looking at you, looking at the way you work, looking at the way you deal, looking at the way you communicate, he's going to make up his mind what India is all about. If you give a good impression, he'll have a good impression. If you give a bad impression, he's going to have a bad impression of India as well. He'll think all Indians are like this. So very important that you treat them well, absolutely be polite, and influence them to, make them welcome in our country. Indian passengers also you have to be courteous, of course, no doubt, but they know what India is like. But especially the foreigners coming from there, you have to give that. Give them a friendly and good quality service to all passengers so that they come to your airline. Remember that our bread and butter, our money comes from passengers. The more passengers, the more money. The minute you upset one passenger, you have lost not only that passenger, 10 more, because he's going to tell 10 more people. So you have lost 10 more passengers. So be very careful how you talk. Flight attendants work in an environment friendly to frequent changes in geography. You'll be in different lands. Sorry. One day hot, one day cold, one day rainy, different cultures. You may go to Asian countries, European countries, American countries, different climate, different cabin altitudes. Cabin altitudes means not the altitude you fly in. The outside altitude is different. Generally, all the airplanes fly, the bigger airplanes fly in India at about 35,000 feet. The cabin altitude is the altitude that they maintain inside the cabin, and that is could be the altitude around 8,000 to 10,000 feet. The altitude at that point, how much oxygen you need, that much oxygen is there in the cabin. So it's called cabin altitude, which means the oxygen in the cabin, which is maintained at what altitude, at 8,000, 10,000, whatever altitude. So if it's a higher altitude, like 12,000 or something, you will feel tired faster. So it depends upon what altitude the pilots maintain it. If it is lower, we feel more fresh, but if it's higher, we feel tired. The G forces are the forces that impact you on landing. The force with which the aircraft lands has an effect on your spine. You have to be very careful. Inside the aircraft, which is, as you know, it's air conditioned, so the air is always dry. You've got to hydrate yourself with drinking a lot of water, juices, a lot of water, everything, but you have to keep yourself hydrated. There are high noise levels outside, which affects your hearing eventually after 20-30 years. No doubt it affects a little because of the constant noise level that you're working in. Dim lighting, turbulence, it is, you know what is turbulence? It is bad weather. When the aircraft shakes, it is also, there'll be things flying, sometimes you might get hurt sometimes, so you have to take that into consideration. Continuous and frequent contact with others. Sometimes in a close environment, people are sick, people are there, they don't tell. You can also get their infections. So all these things they consider, and which is why you paid a very high salary. Flight attendants work in confined spaces of aircraft aisles and galleys. You have only an aisle to walk in, and the galleys were the kitchen of the aircraft. Aisles is the passages and where you walk. To accomplish service in cabin equipment operation needs periods of long duration. Flight attendants must stand, walk, kneel, bend, stoop, stretch, and lift heavy objects from the floor. And you need to do all of this. You are standing on your feet for 10 hours, 12 hours. Of course, you get time to sit down for a little while. Everybody sits down for a little while when they're tired, or when they're eating, or when they're just eating. But still, majority of the time you'll be walking up and down. It tires you out. You have to kneel, bend, stoop, stretch in the galleys because things are kept down. You have to lift heavy things in the galleys like your tea and coffee flasks, which take in about 50 cups of tea and 50 cups of coffee. They are heavy. You have to lift those. You have to lift the bar items are heavy, the heavy bottles of liquor. So all those, you have to lift them from the floor and push and pull the carts and all that does affect your back, so you have to be very careful about that as well. Try always to be happy, which is just not cheerfulness or boisterousness, but genuine enjoyment of life. Don't try to just show off and talk and all this. Just be happy. Try to see the good part in everything. All of us have our bad moments, but the real charmers do not cling to them. They all know it is better to be happy than unhappy because happiness attracts people like these to happen. If you go when you go out with your friends, also everybody likes to be with a person who's joking, who's happy, who's saying nice things, rather than go with a person who's always taunting or who's always in a bad mood, who's always crying about his health, family. Nobody helps.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking in between.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Am I clear now?
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am.
Now you can clear. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just as I was telling you, with your friends, you like to be with friends who are happy, joking, having fun. If there is a particular friend who's always crying and always whining and always unhappy, taunting, would you like to be with them? No. You like to be with happy people because you feel you have enough problems of your own, you don't need other people's problems. So try to be happy, try to not tell about your problems all the time. Sometimes ask people about theirs. So be happy in general. It's all part of life to have good and bad moments. So try to make sure that your good moments are more. Try to have good thoughts. Worry, anxiety, hatred, mistrust, play havoc with emotional and physical health. Good thoughts are helpful allies towards maintaining beauty. Whenever you are, whatever you think and whatever your attitude is, positive or negative, it always shows on your face. An unhappy person, you can make up from his face. He'll have a very sad face, he'll have wrinkles, he'll have this thing, and you can look at him and say, oh my God, looks very sad. Whereas a happy face, he'll be smiling. When you smile and when you are happy, it releases some chemicals in your body which comes on your face as well. So those are the good chemicals. Immediately everybody sees you and say, oh wow, what a nice person. A smile can make such a big difference. You just smile somebody randomly on the road, also he'll smile back. Make a face, he'll wonder, he'll want to hit you. So smile, very important. Good thoughts, okay. Don't dwell on ugly thoughts whenever they make an entry into your mind. Switch over to some constructive thinking. When you are happy, you have bad thoughts, just divert your mind. To have a clean mind, remove unwanted thoughts of envy, jealousy, humiliation, anger, disappointment, sadness. Take time for prayer and meditation. Please do meditation. It calms you down, especially if you're having anger issues. Then you're absolutely, the job is not for you. So try to calm yourself with meditation. Meditation is of tremendous value for maintaining mental and spiritual health. Prayer and meditation are food for the soul, strength for the body and health and mind. So this is your psychological state of your mind should be good. You have to become a much better and a beautiful person. Your posture. Bad posture not only affects your personality but also your health. If the body is allowed to sag, the lungs will get compressed and oxygen intake is limited. When you bend over and sit, when you sit at your desk, you don't sit straight, you bend over, what happens? Your lungs get compressed, your oxygen intake is limited. This gives rise to digestion of food also, improper digestion. Therefore, learn to walk and carry yourself gracefully. Walk straight, don't slouch. This thing, anyway, when they see you for the interview walking, they're going to notice all these things. Kindness we all should have in us, a great lacking in today's world. We only think of killing each other and beating each other. We should have kindness. Kind work, world, a helping hand gives you inner serenity. Serenity means peace. Whenever you help others, you just imagine the good feeling that it gives you, inner peace, which will open the floodgates of goodwill and fellow feeling. Relaxation, again very important. You'll be flying at all orders, and night, day, you need your relaxation. What happens is when you're young and you get this job, you're so thrilled that the remaining time after you finish work, you only want party. Go here, go there. Yes, sure, do party, but sleep as well. You need your sleep. That fatigue is there, it causes lots of problems. So finish your sleep and then party. Fatigue and emotional disturbances is a potential killer of beauty. When you're tired, your face shows you're tired. It shows on your face. Okay. Pleasant voice, it is beauty acid which attracts people. You have to cultivate a soft and gentle voice, tone it with sincerity and polish it with a pleasant pitch. It's very, you told your voice is very, very important part of it. How you say it is very important. The same thing can be said in a better tone, would sound less rude to people. So whenever you speak something, say, if you have to correct somebody, say it nicely. Don't make an insult out of it. Don't have an audience to correct people. People are sensitive and they get very upset, So you want to tell somebody that you're doing a wrong thing. Take them aside and say, I don't like your behavior. Can you just change it, please? This thing, instead of making sure that you fire the person in front of so many people. Tone should be good, pleasing, normal conversation. The same thing can be said in a very nice way, even otherwise. So please watch when you speak to others. Passenger care and responsibility, main and always primary duty of a flight attendant is for safety. but they do also provide a caregiving and customer service role on board commercial flights. The main and always primary duties of a flight attendant is for flight safety. They also do provide caregiving and customer service role on board. Customer service duties include preparation, selling of onboard food, beverages, handing out headsets. Nowadays, headsets are kept in the seat itself, so you don't have to do that. Magazines, newspapers are kept in the rack, except in first class and in club class. You have to give them the magazines and newspapers in hand. Amenity kits are given to first class and club class only, so that also has to be given in hand. The children if they are on board. Padamas are given to first class people only, and they have lie flat beds. Have you all seen lie flat beds? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Can you see this? This is your typical seat. This seat is straight. When you sit, it's like this. There are panels here where you can slide it down, and there is a leg piece here which comes up, and the person can sleep. This is only first class and only club class. These are the windows. This is you have generally a partition which you can put down if there is another passenger so that you don't see him while sleeping. The beds are made and given in first class. It's like this when it's not occupied. This is a normal seat. This is a normal seat, window seat. This is how you make it flat. Your personal television, your seatbelts. This is your screen, your separating screen from the next seat. Your magazines can go here, or in this there is a table for you. It comes out so that it comes lies flat so that you can eat on it and it goes back in. All your buttons are there. You have the jacks for charging your phone, you have for music, you have for this thing, you have everything there. USB, whatever you have. You have your personal light. If you switch on only reading light in the night when it's dark and you want to only read or something so as not to, disturb others, you can use your reading lights also. This is like wide body aircraft. These are also two flat screens like this and like this. Different types you get here. This is also typical. This is how it becomes flat. The leg portion, this portion is down when you're sitting and comes up like this when you press the button. So it becomes a flat. So this is how club class passengers travel. Okay. Your flat seat again. Okay. This would be ideally like first class. You have TV, you have tables, you have everything. They have your seat belts, you have your own magazine rack, you have music, you have movies, whatever. Remote control with games, everything. Okay? So this is how the flight beds are. Now I have to
rise above the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high. The sky is so high, don't know how to fly, ain't this yet to make it fly. I'm gonna fly one day, fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna fly one day.
Can you all see the screen? Can you
Yes,
all
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
see of a plate like Okay. 3 seats here. I'll explain to you little by little. This is your typical 3 seats. Coming in from the left hand side, this would be A, B, C, D, E, F. F being the window, A being the window. This is called the aisle seat because these are the aisles. This is called the middle seat. This is your galley. These are the carts, ovens, and a place where you store other things. Overhead bins where you keep your luggage. Under the bins, there is something called the
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
What do I do? I can't do anything more. My internet is showing full. I don't know why. Is there any way I can do it? Okay, anyway, see the video. And this is the overhead bins, and under there is a panel here. What is the panel called? Does anybody remember? Let me know. 32 A, B, C. This is the in-flight emergency equipment. We have the oxygen bottle and we have the gloves. We have a demo kit here, and this bin is only meant for emergency equipment. Passengers cannot keep their bags there. Can you hear me? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oxygen mask. Three oxygen bottles, oxygen masks, demo kits. Demo kits means demonstration kits for doing life jacket and oxygen announcement in case the video doesn't work. I'm moving ahead with this because I will be doing this with you all later, but I'll just explain. This is an oxygen bottle. A pre-flight check for an oxygen bottle should be that the needle should be within 1500 and 2000, between these two bands. There are two outlets, 2 liters per minute and 4 liters per minute. This says high, this is 4 liters, this is 2 liters. There should be a cover on this, and there should be a strap. This is the check that we have to do. We do not remove it when we do the check. We just climb up on top of the seat and check everything and get down. We need the strap. Yeah. This is the first aid kit. It is kept like this. There are seals, this green color, these seals are there. It is open only in an emergency if somebody falls sick. And inside is a form which has to be filled regarding regarding the what have you used and for which passenger. Here they give you inspection date. Last inspection 25th April 2015. This has to be valid for a year, within a year. So the last date they've given you exactly 1 year from now, this has to be changed. So you have to check the date, you have to check the seals. That is your pre-flight check. Now this is another pre-flight check. This is the megaphone. This is to make announcement in case the announcement system fails and in an emergency. If you need to control the crowd, you need to use this. Megaphone. Okay. This is your fire extinguisher. Needle should be in the green band. Seal should be there. Clasp should be there. This all we have to see in the pre-flight check. It is always clasped like that. We do not take it out of the clasp. We just check. This is your cabin crew seat. It's called a jump seat because this, when you get up, this goes back. So it jumps back. So let's see this. It goes back like that. These are the seat belts. We have to, in your pre-flight check, this is one of the checks that you have to do to make sure that the straps work for you, because you're going to sit facing backwards. You're going to face the passenger, so your back will be towards the aircraft. So you need this on your shoulder. So you have to check whether this works. Also, this wire is between these two things. There is a headphone, not a headphone. It's from where you make announcements. You have to check whether that works also. Underneath the seat, you have smoke hood. In case of a fire, you need to wear this. You have a torch, and you have an orange life jacket. This life jacket, the life jacket color for the crew is orange, and for the passenger is yellow, so that they make out the difference between the crew and the passengers. So this would be yours. Flashlight. This light will keep blinking. This light will be blinking. If it takes longer than 10 seconds, that means it's not working. And there's every 10 seconds, you have to tell the engineer that the light is not blinking. So you take it out and recharge it and bring it. This torch cannot be recharged on flight. Crew life jacket. Checklist. This is the smoke hood. This is only to be used in case you are going to deal with fire. There is a window here from which you can see the color of the there is a sticker like thing, and if the color changes means it is not. Different airlines have different smoke hoods, so checks will be different. So they will tell you what the check is for the smoke hood of that particular aircraft. It has to be secured. Let me see. This is your demonstration. One cabin crew will have to make the announcement. All the others will be in the cabin doing the demonstration. This is Airbus 320. You can see the overhead bins, the windows. These are the tables for eating. Your seats A, B, C, D. Your fire extinguishers here. Your one more emergency equipment smoke hood is here. and she's in the middle. This is probably the entrance to the cockpit. So this is the PSU, Passenger Service Unit, above all seats.
Rise over the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high. The sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, aim for his yet to make the fly. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with April today, fly away, oh. Fly away with April today, fly away,
Okay, this is your life jacket. You have to put it on like she showed you. This, in case the life jacket has, when you pull this toggle, it's called a toggle. When you pull this toggle, the life jacket inflates automatically. In case it doesn't inflate automatically, you can blow into this tube and inflate it. You can do, blow it with your mouth and do it. There is a light here, so that in case you have an emergency landing in water in the night, you will not be seen. So the light comes on when the battery touches the water. So automatically the light will come on and they will be able to see that there is a passenger in the water. There are pathway lights which will illuminate in an emergency on its own. This card is kept in the seat pocket in front of you. Each one is supposed to go through it. This is how you'll have to make the announcements also. Let's see this one last video and we can wind up.
Rise over the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high. The sky is so high, if you don't know how to fly, aim for his yet to make the fly. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day.
Some of the crew who are dieting pack their own food and drink, or some who don't like Accra food, they bring their own food.
Sky so high, don't know how to fly. Ain't this yet to make it fun? I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away,
In India, this call, what she is talking about is called standby duty. You have to wait at home, and company calls you from home if they need you.
rise over the sky. Set your standards high. Hold your heads high. Sky so high. Don't know how to fly. Ain't this yet to make it fun? I'm gonna fly one day. Sure I'm gonna fly one day. And it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away,
Neva means she will stay in Houston.
rise over the sky. Set your standards high. Hold your heads high. Sky so high. Don't know how to fly. Ain't this yet to make it fun? I'm gonna fly one day. Sure I'm gonna fly one day. And it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Rise over the sky. Set your standards high. Hold your heads high. Sky so high. Don't know how to fly. Ain't this yet to make it fun?
Skylink is the train that they have. Their airports are so huge that they have to. There are some airports have a train which you can take from one terminal to another.
I'm gonna fly one day, sure I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend.
Anybody can tell me what is this? Veena, come on. I've caught you after a long time. This is the inside of a jetty, which attaches the terminal building to the aircraft.
Rise above the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high, here we go. Sky is so high, don't know how to fly.
You have drawers, milk. This is your platform to work with your ice doors and all this equipment.
Feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day. I'm gonna fly one day. I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, rise above the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high.
Yes, they have reached the hotel rooms.
Sky is so high, don't know how to fly. Ain't this
Th-
to make you fly?
These are the hotel rooms that you are provided with.
I'm gonna fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh. Rise above the sky, set your standards high, hold your heads high, here we go. Sky is so high, don't know how to fly, ain't this yet to make you fly. I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna fly one day, and it's gonna feel so right someday. I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna fly one day, I'm gonna spread my wings someday. Oh, oh. Fly away with a friend today. Fly away, oh.
So you've seen how your life is, your timings,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, timings and how you have to take a flight and so you've seen all
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
So we'll wind up here and I see you tomorrow. We continue tomorrow. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day, ma'am.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rise above the sky, here we go. Set your standards high, here we go. Hold your heads high, here we go.